Nick Miller last updated 15:15, October 16, 2018. Theresa May insists Brexit deal still possible, despite current impasse. The sticking point remains the border between Northern Ireland and Ireland, which will remain part of the EU. Analysis is a grand tradition going back to Shakespeare's Henry V. At an appropriate lull in a fight against the French, you give a rousing speech telling everyone to stick with it. And so Theresa May went to the House of Commons on Monday, to deliver the Brexit equivalent of once more into the breach. There were differences. Britain's Prime Minister Theresa May says the Irish backstop cannot derail Brexit. Instead of stiffen the sinews, summon up the blood, disguise fair nature with hard-favoured rage, they got this is the time for cool, calm heads to prevail. Read more. UK scrambles to salvage Brexit deal after Irish border hitch. British PM Theresa May tells critics to drop dream of a perfect Brexit. Diplomat, Brexit good for Kiwi migrants. Brexit deal realistic within 6 to 8 weeks. Negotiator says. Theresa de Delire, May's secret to surviving Brexit. Britain's European Union partners agree terms for post-Brexit ties. May's statement to the Commons, followed by a marathon hour-and-a-half session in which she firmly batted back complaints from what seemed like every single one of the other 649 MPs, was framed as an update on the final stages of the negotiations with the European Union over the divorce deal governing the period immediately after Brexit on March 29 next year. An Irish flag flies over the graves in a cemetery in Carrickkernan, Ireland, near Northern Ireland, where the Brexit deal runs into trouble. This was the week that, according to the original plan, the EU's leaders would gather in Brussels to give their approval to this divorce deal. Over the weekend, if you believe some reports, such a deal was nearly done. But if you believe other reports, Brexit Secretary Dominic Raab was sent to Brussels to tell his own negotiators they had conceded too much. May said there had been a great deal of inaccurate speculation, without saying which reports were inaccurate. It is now looking unlikely that a deal will be agreed this week. May explained why. The sticking point, as it has been for at least a year, is the Irish border. Both sides have agreed that for the sake of peace in this troubled region there must be no hard border, that is, customs checks, at the land border with Ireland after Brexit. Both sides have agreed, perhaps optimistically, this can be sorted out with a frictionless trade deal hopefully negotiated during the 20-month transition period that follows Brexit Day. And both sides agreed in December last year to a necessary backstop that will kick in after the transition ends in January 2021, if needed, to ensure there remains no hard border until that trade deal is fully sorted out. But there has been little progress since December on how the backstop should work. The EU says it must mean Northern Ireland stays in the EU's customs union and parts of the single market. May says that would effectively mean a border between Northern Ireland and Britain, which threatens the integrity of our United Kingdom. The UK countered with a temporary customs arrangement to cover the whole of the UK, including Northern Ireland, under which the UK would apply EU customs rules at its own border. But, May said, the EU doesn't believe the UK's solution would work, or at least hasn't yet been persuaded it will work, and doubts there is enough time left to be convinced. So now the EU wants its own backstop to be the backstop to May's backstop. Even if May were to accept the EU's backstop to her backstop, which she doesn't, May said, there is the additional problem that it must somehow be time-limited, because otherwise the UK risks being left in a permanent limbo, trapped in a single customs territory unable to do meaningful trade deals. But the EU insists that a time-limited backstop isn't a proper backstop. Nevertheless, May said she continues to believe that such a deal is achievable. She did not explain why she continued to believe this. Opposition leader Jeremy Corbyn complained it was a Groundhog Day moment from this shambles of a government which had agreed to a backstop last December that it was now unable to sell to its own hardline Brexit wing and DUP allies. He was batted away by May, who ridiculed Labour's own internal divisions over Brexit. The more wounding attack came from behind her. What we now see is complete chaos and a total mess, said Conservative Anna Soubry, who wants another referendum on the whole shebang. It prompted a firm line from the Prime Minister: come what may, there will be no turning back. The people voted to leave the European Union, and I believe it is a matter of faith in our democracy, and the integrity of politicians, that we deliver for people on that vote, she said. Several MPs, from both sides, reported that constituents and local businesses in their electorates were getting extremely worried about a no-deal Brexit if negotiations break down. During Saturday's excellent victory by Gloucester Rugby Club against the French League champions Castres Olympique, several representatives of small and medium-sized businesses focused on telling me how disastrous no deal would be. Gloucester Tory Richard Graham complained, "My businesses and constituents in South Cambridgeshire are terrified of a no deal, too," said Heidi Allen of South Cambridgeshire, less of a rugby fan but no less concerned. And May's reply to Allen, who was also asking for another referendum, was perhaps the most intriguing of the day. If, at the end of the negotiation process, both sides agreed that no deal was there, that would actually come back to this House, and then we would see what position the House would take in the circumstances of the time, May said. It was the most chilling threat of the day. If Parliament doesn't back May's solution, she's going to make it their problem. Sydney Morning Herald.